200 years ago, the American pioneers built their homes by hand. They chopped the trees, hewed the logs, and stacked the houses. Some of these cabins are still standing.
When the boatman gets on shore, he spends his cash and he works for more than dance. Boatman dance, oh dance, boatman dance. Dance all night till broad daylight and go home with the gals in the morning. I rode a boatman boat from down the river, the Ohio. I rode a boatman boat from down the river, the Ohio. went on board the other day to see what the boatman had to say. There I let my passion loose and it crammed me in the calaboose. And dance, boatman, dance, oh dance, boatman, dance. Dance all night till broad daylight and go home with the gals in the morning. When the boatman blow his horn, look out, oh man, your fog is gone. Catch my sheep, he catch my shoat, and put him in a bag and throw him in the boat.
I went at your bidding and passed along their thoroughfares of trade. I ascended their mountains and went down their valleys. I visited their manufacturers, their commercial markets, and emporiums of trade. I entered their judicial courts and legislative halls, but I sought everywhere in vain for the secret of their success. That is, until I entered the church. It was there as I listened to the soul equalizing and soul elevating principles of the gospel of Jesus Christ, as they fell from Sabbath to Sabbath upon the masses of the people, that I learned why America was great and free and why France was a slave. Alexis de Tocqueville, French historian, reporting to the French Senate in 1800.
Dance all night till broad daylight and go home with the gals in the morning. High road, boatman, go from Don River to Ohio. High road, boatman, go from Don River to Ohio. The boatman is a thrifty man, there's none can do as a boatman can. Never seen a pretty gal in my life, but that she was a boatman's wife. Then dance, boatman, dance, oh dance, boatman, dance. Dance all night till broad daylight and go home with the gals in the morning. When you go to the boatman's ball, dance with my wife, but don't dance tall. Sky blue jacket and toppling hat, look out my boys for the nine-tailed cat. Then dance, boatman, dance, oh dance, boatman, dance. Dance all night till broad daylight, go home with the gals in the morning. High road, boatman, go from down River to Ohio. High road, boatman, go from down River to Ohio.
Song I buried long about my long-tail blue. Oh, for the long-tail blue. Oh, for the long-tail blue. Sing the song I buried long about my long-tail blue. Those fellas, they have but one coat, but you see I got two. Wears a jacket all the week on Sunday, the long-tail blue. Oh, for the long-tail blue. Oh, for the long-tail blue. Sing the song I buried long about my long-tail blue. I was going up Market Street, I hollered after Sue. The watchman came and took me up and spoiled my long-tail blue. Oh, for the long-tail blue. Oh, for the long-tail blue. Sing the song I buried long about my long-tail blue. Took it to a tailor shop to see what he could do. Took a needle and a thread and mended the long-tail blue. Oh, for the long-tail blue. Oh, for the long-tail blue. Sing the song I buried long about my long-tail blue. blue. Oh, for the long tail blue. Sing a song not very long about my long tail blue.
I've traveled this world all over, and now to another I go. I know that good quarters are waiting for to welcome old Rosin the Bow. For to welcome old Rosin the Bow, we boys, for to welcome old Rosin the Bow. I know that good quarters are waiting for to welcome old Rosin the Bow. When I'm dead and laid out on the counter, a voice will be heard from below, saying, send down a hogshead of whiskey for to drink with old Rosin the Bow. For to drink with old Rosin the Bow, me boys, to drink with old Rosin the Bow. Saying, send down a hogshead of whiskey for to drink with old Rosin the Bow. Get me a half-dozen stout fellows and line 'em up all in a row. Let 'em drink out of half-gallon bottles to the memory of Rosin the Bow. To the memory of Rosin the Bow, me boys, to the memory of Rosin the Bow. Let 'em drink out of half-gallon bottles to the memory of Rosin the Bow. Feel that old tyrant approaching, that cruel, remorseless old foe. I'll lift up my glass in his honor, take a drink with old Rosin the Bow. Take a drink with old Rosin the Bow, we boys, take a drink with old Rosin the Bow. I lift up my glass in his honor, take a drink with old Rosin the Bow. Take a drink with old Rosin the Bow, we boys, take a drink with old Rosin the Bow. I lift up my glass in his honor, take a drink with old Rosin the Bow.
His selling price was $2,400, which was an extreme sum in those days. Smith didn't have it, but since these were such valuable documents, the Smith used two other people to invest sums of money, and they did, and Chandler sold these antiquities to Joseph Smith, and that's how he came into possession of them.
Joseph Smith said that to properly translate these scrolls would take some time, but that a few of the Egyptian characters were recognizable to him immediately, and he translated these for Chandler. Chandler thanked him profusely and supplied an affidavit endorsing Smith's scholarship.
This is to make known to all who may be desirous concerning the knowledge of Mr. Joseph Smith in deciphering the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic characters in my possession, which I have in many eminent cities showed to the most learned. And from the information that I could ever learn or meet with, I find that of Mr. Joseph Smith to correspond in the most minute matters.
Translation of the papyri commenced almost at once, with Joseph focusing his attention on one of the papyrus scrolls, which he identified as an ancient record of Abraham.
I have commenced the translation of some of the characters, or hieroglyphics, and much to our joy have found that one of the rolls contained the writings of Abraham, another with the writings of Joseph of Egypt, a more full account of which will appear in its place as I proceed to examine or unfold them. Truly we can say, the Lord is beginning to reveal the abundance of peace and truth. July 5, 1835.
In 1835, Philadelphia's famed Liberty Bell cracked while tolling for the death of America's first Chief Justice, John Marshall. In 1836, Sam Houston was elected the first president of the Republic of Texas. The colorful Houston had led the rebellion against Mexico and helped guide the Lone Star Republic into statehood in 1846. He served as a senator and as governor held out against secession. He was removed from office when Texas joined the Confederacy in 1861.
Presents them to view the orchard, the meadow, the deep tangled wildwood, and every love spot which my infancy knew. The wide spreading pond and the mill that stood by it, the bridge and the rock where the cataract fell, the cot of my father, the dairy house nigh it, in the rude bucket that hung in the well, the old oaken bucket, the iron-bound bucket, the moss-covered bucket which hung in the well. Covered vessel I held as a treasure, for often at noon when returned from the field I found it the source of an exquisite pleasure, the purest and sweetest that nature can yield. How ardent I seized it with hands that were glowing, and quick to the white pebble bottom it fell, and soon with the emblem of truth overflowing and dripping with coolness, it rose from the well. The old oaken bucket, the iron-bound bucket, the moss-covered bucket arose from the well. How sweet from the green mossy brim to receive it, as poised on the curb it inclined to my lips. Not a full blushing goblet could tempt me to leave it, the brightest that beauty or revelry sits. And now far removed from the loved habitation, the tear of regret will intrusively swell, as fancy reverts to my father's plantation, and sighs for the bucket that hangs in the well. The old oaken bucket, the iron-bound bucket, the moss-covered bucket that hangs in the well. The moss-covered bucket that hangs in the well.
Tell me the tales that to me were so dear, long, long ago, long, long ago. Sing me the songs I delighted to hear, long, long ago, long ago. Now you are come, all my grief is removed. Let me forget that so long you have roved. Let me believe that you love as you loved, long, long ago, long ago.
Old Dan Tucker was a fine old man, washed his face in a frying pan, combed his hair with a wagon wheel, died with a toothache in his heel. Get out the way, old Dan Tucker, you're too late to get your supper. Supper's over and dinner's cooking. Old Dan Tucker, just stand there looking. Old Dan Tucker began an early life to play the banjo and the fife. He played the boys and girls to sleep, then into his bed he creeped. Get out the way, old Dan Tucker, you're too late to get your supper. Supper's over and dinner's cooking. Old Dan Tucker, just stand there looking. Get out the way, old Dan Tucker, you're too late to get your supper. Supper's over and dinner's cooking. Old Dan Tucker, just stand there looking. Old Dan Tucker was a fine old man, washed his face in a frying pan, combed his hair with a wagon wheel, died with a toothache in his heel. Get out the way, old Dan Tucker, you're too late to get your supper. Supper's over and dinner's cooking. Old Dan Tucker, just stand there looking. Old Dan Tucker began an early life to play the banjo and the fife. He played the boys and girls to sleep, then into his bed he creeped. Get out the way, old Dan Tucker, you're too late to get your supper. Supper's over and dinner's cooking. Old Dan Tucker, just stand there looking. Get out the way, old Dan Tucker, you're too late to get your supper. Supper's over and dinner's cooking. Old Dan Tucker, just stand there looking.
Through the autumn and early winter of 1835, Joseph continued to work on the project. And eventually, the mummies and the scrolls were moved to an upper floor room here at the Kirtland Temple, where Joseph continued to work on the translation. But the translation project soon tapered off, and Joseph moved on to other matters related to leading his community. He established his own bank in Kirtland and issued his own currency. But in 1838, when the venture went bankrupt, Joseph fled Kirtland on horseback in the middle of the night and never returned. In 1839, the Mormon community relocated to a small town on the banks of the Mississippi River known as Commerce, Illinois. Joseph renamed the town Nauvoo, a Hebrew word meaning beautiful.